Welcome to Ray's Sensation. I am your host, Dan, and in this very special episode, I am going to be looking at this new publication, the John Jacobs and Ken Landgraf Lost Tales. It says up here, Micrographic Artistic Editions presents, and then this is one of the comics, Muffy Brandon, Space Explorer. This is, I'm not going to go into exactly who John Jacobs and Ken Landgraf were. John Jacobs was a great writer and publisher of really off-the-wall independent comics. Ken Landgraf is a guy who, he worked for the major publishers doing some work, but he was most at home doing independent publications like his magnum opus, the New York City Outlaws, and he's got a great unpolished style that just, you can see the influences, you can see the wild. I mean, this is just, look at this alone. That looks like maybe whiteout used there and all kinds of crazy stuff. Zipatone that's been Xeroxed and then cut out and used. Just crazy, wonderful artwork here. Heavily Wally Wood influenced for one thing. And we'll see more of that there. Now, he published very few comics. The best being by far my favorite, Dr. Peculiar. I know that there's a lot of comic artists who really like him. A lot of the 80s artists, like I know Daniel Klaus is a big fan. As a matter of fact, I was thinking, I think if I'm remembering correctly, in the Cartoonist Kayfabe video interview with Daniel Klaus, I think he talks about how he actually he was working with some other cartoonists and they made a homage comic to Dr. Peculiar that was never published. And my God, if someone could find that and publish it, I would be so happy. But here we see Jim Rugg looking over this artwork, and here it explains what behind this, the details behind this. Over a decade ago, we were introduced to the mind-warping work of John B. Jacobs. That introduction sent us down the rabbit hole of the internet, contacting Ken Landgraf and many others in search of any and all things John Jacobs related. Heck, one of us even visited the man's grave. In September of 2024, Ken emailed both of us about an eBay listing of original art. Over 50 pages of Landgraf and Jacobs art. After talking it over, we decided to bid together rather than against each other. It worked. We won and had one hell of a time dividing the work between us. This zine features 3 complete unpublished stories. 2 of them were written by John Jacobs, and the third was written by Ken Landgraf. We've also included 3 pages from the longest work within the lot. While this work hasn't been credited, we think it was Jacobs related, given the religious undertone and similarity to the published works like Far Frontier, Power Stars, and Dr. Peculiar. Finally, 3 pages of uncredited, non-dialogued pages round out this collection. Excelsior, Chris Pitzer, and Jim Rugg with Ken Landgraf. And the reason I had to rush this out, I just received my copy yesterday. I've only had a chance to read it once, but I wanted to get this out there. For limited edition first printing of 500 copies. Now, they probably will print more if this does really well, and I really hope it does, because I want more people to be able to discover the great work that Jacobs and Landgraf did together. But so here's Jim Rugg looking over these pages. Beautiful. Look at the size of those. This book is published in a really small format or really nice paper. It looks great, but it's very small compared to the, some of Jacobs' books were published magazine format, and even the smaller ones were, at least regular size comics. So to have it be printed smaller, I get it. But boy, it'd be nice to see him printed a little bit bigger. Beaver Girl, again, the wild thing about the John Jacobs comics is they're heavily influenced by the DC type comics, where things were kind of like goofy on one hand, but you were still supposed to take them semi-seriously as heroes. They're not straight up parodies, but they are. He's purposely putting things in there that he thinks are funny. He also puts in a little bit of an undercurrent of Christian subtext to some of these things. But, you see a thing like this: Beaver Girl, champion of a nearly extinct race of beaver people. And this story is called Beaver Girl Gives a Damn. So why... so these people look... And I have to say, the first thing I noticed on this is some of the craziest Landgraf art I've ever seen. I mean, he has sometimes, he has a big swipe file or morgue, if you want to call it that he pulls from. And there have been times when he has actually just straight up copied a character or a face from somebody else's work. But this is the wildest stuff. I mean, just look at this page. Look at all the different kinds of outfits all these characters are wearing, and this bizarre... This is supposed to be this ancient, undiscovered civilization. It's just... it's just crazy. And look at this. I mean, it just makes no sense. There's nothing holding this together. It's got crazy, wacky science ideas. This lost continent kind of thing is lost when a comet, a bit of... I can't even go into it all. It's about our second moon gets struck, and it plunges down and buries this continent. And then Beaver Girl is here because she was sent by a rocket ship, Superman style, to our planet as a child. And there's this race of beaver people who are born from her, who live to this day. They look exactly like humans, although it says that they have some kind of projection that enables them to live among us. But if they look any different from us, there's no indication of that at all in any of these pictures. Like I said, these jumbles of people are just people dressed in every different way. This is this is not how most of the comics are. This is great, people. This is a great people. This is a great one. Beaver people have lived secretly among Earth people until this present day. It was applying the same trades as their terrestrial neighbors. Some of them even engaged in less reputable trades, such as pornography and exploitation of rudeness. Oh my gosh. Anyway, this is a kooky, I mean, look, I just have no idea what's really going on in this. This is Ken at his craziest. Then there's this page that seriously looks like, a Mad Magazine page, the way he's done these kind of things. Who knows where this came from? And then there's Cactus Man, which this works more like some of the other things. I will say this for this. This is one of the wordier. He doesn't usually have this many word balloons. There's usually more open space, but it's another. I'm not going to give away everything in this. There is some crazy kooky elements in this that are just outrageous. It's just so funny. And here's another one. This is Captives of the Rat-Faced Spider People. It's another superhero adventure. And there's a lot of, I mean, if that's not swiped exactly from a Wally Wood comic, I don't know. So, and that's like the monster from the 150s, the Angry Red Planet. There's a monster kind of similar to that in it. The rat bat spider monster, some people call it. And then this this page, and then this crazy amount of stuff. So this is just so wonderful. This is a little quote here at the end from a random shop owner. I find it hard to believe that my John Jacobs could be the one you're looking for. He published a few things and did have a few pieces of his art in the shop many years ago. How anyone could have become a fan of his really befuddles me. I was unaware of his art being shown anywhere. I can't see how anyone could have seen any of it. I'm curious about this more than anything. So why? I really don't think it could be the same John Jacobs. That's from the shop owner. So this is why I really don't think it could be the same John Jacobs. Now, one thing is, I knew John from back when he was originally publishing these things. I was actually at his house once and didn't realize it. I didn't realize it was him. I didn't talk to him. There was a party being thrown that had music by some friends of mine. If only I had known at the time. I did not know. And I knew of his comics at the time. I just didn't, none of the people who invited me to be there said anything about him making comics. So anyway, what a missed opportunity. But I also did some correspondence for him because I was working with a friend who had a fanzine, a music fanzine mostly, but covered comics too. And I corresponded a couple letters with John to find out about his comics. And I don't have those letters anymore. And I talked to Chris Pitzer at a show, and he, here's the thing is, Chris loves this stuff, and I love this stuff, and Jim Rugg loves this stuff. And, there's a lot of people who love this stuff. I'd love to see it get put out there, but I am so glad that Chris and I guess Jim are really looking for this stuff, because there might be more stuff out there. Someone's got to keep an eye out for it. But when Chris found out I had corresponded with him, he goes, "Do you have those letters still?" And I was like, no, I don't. The truth is, I might actually have them, but I don't know where they are. I'm afraid to have Chris, that making Chris crazy, thinking I could find these and show them to him. They weren't much, it's just finding out. He was running a contest for somebody to draw a monster that he would use in a future issue of Dr. Peculiar that never happened. He only did, I don't think that after those correspondence, I think right after that is when he didn't do any more of his self-published stuff. Anyway, here's a look at it. I'm going to put the link down below for you to find this. Like I said, there might end up being more printed after this first 500. I'll put a link to the to what I guess is Chris's eBay page. But I hear Jim Rugg is also going to be selling this off his web page in the future, and he'll probably have them at the shows he's going to do this summer. So you might check for it there. It's $10, which I think is a good price. It's well printed, and certainly if you're a fan of this stuff, this is not lost. I mean, I don't want to give away all the craziness that's in here. It's just nuts. Very singular talent. Ken Landgraf, of course, is a known quantity that you should all be familiar with. And have fun, people. Track this down.